Hello and welcome to our daily show where we talk about personal and financial development. And today we're talking about, should the government raise business taxes? We're going to talk about it today. Put it in the comments as you come in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you like us, if you like our comment, or if you like our content, like, comment, and share. If you don't, like, comment, and share anyways. And put it in the comments. Let us know, should businesses be taxed higher? If you don't already know who we are, we're Martin and Chelsea Matthews. We're married. We're in business together. We have a combined 22 years experience in the financial industry. We're founders of M Wealth Group, a financial consultant and investment agency. And we're authors of this book, Let's Fight About Money, helping couples communicate about money, handle conflict, and build an unbreakable financial house. And that's our mission, to help you build an unbreakable financial house in your life and business so you can create the life that you truly want to live and make the impact that you truly want to make. So today we're talking about an article in the Wall Street Journal talking about, you can't really see it very well, but talking about the government trying to increase taxes on businesses. Do you think this is a good idea? Did you see it coming? Do you think it's a bad idea? And who will this affect?
Yeah, so one thing is,
excuse me.
All right, good morning, guys. And somebody says Tony from Atlanta, Georgia. Rich something. Tony from Georgia. Rich story, rich toy.
Rich toy box.
I just see it from over here. What's up, man? So look. It's important for you to understand what your government is doing. Every day they're up to something. And so, by the way,
what are they
those of you
now?
on Instagram, we stream on YouTube where sometimes we can share things on our screen. But if you only watch on Instagram, you may not be able to see it. So if you ever want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can click the link in bio. You can watch on YouTube. That way you can actually do other things while you're watching us live on YouTube. So that may be
not that we don't want your total and complete undivided attention.
You can also engage, ask questions, all of that on there. But so look, we're talking about when the government. Yesterday, I did a video where I explained that when there's an increase in the money supply, right? So the government increases the money supply. So now that ended up being followed by an increase in prices. So prices increased. So you see that inflation, cost of goods and services went up. And in order to handle that, they started to increase interest rates. They can't increase interest rates too fast because then that brings the growth, any growth that was happening in the economy, to a halt, right? So when interest rates are low, people tend to borrow money. They tend to invest more. A company can say, hey, that equipment we're looking at buying, interest rates are really low right now. Let's finance that equipment and let's buy more stuff. So that's how businesses think. They look at it from a financial position. And so, but when interest rates start going up, businesses might be like, hey, you know what? It's going to cost us a lot more now to buy that equipment. Let's wait on buying that equipment. So what happens? They don't purchase that equipment. The equipment manufacturer don't make that money. The equipment manufacturer don't bring in as much revenue. The equipment manufacturer doesn't need as much staff. The equipment manufacturer starts laying people off. You understand? It's a sequence of events that ends up happening that you need to understand. And then when the government increases the debt of the country, and then the Federal Reserve increases interest rates and it starts to slow down production in the country, you then have potentially a recession. When you have potentially a recession, then revenues got to come from somewhere.
But I thought we were in a booming economy and record employment numbers.
Yeah. So
what about that?
So revenues got to come from somewhere. And do you know where the revenue comes from? It comes from, voila, you, the taxpayer. So when the government has now spent money on all kinds of things and things you didn't know about and all this crap, they then go to try to raise taxes on you. Even though, as these politicians all promise, they're not going to raise taxes on you if you make above a certain amount. We're going to talk about that today. How in the Wall Street Journal, they consider this a tax on everyone. Because based on this proposal, just beginning in 2023, almost every income bracket would see, every income bracket as a taxpayer would see a tax increase if the bill happens to pass. So they continually tell you they're trying to help you out and trying to do all these things, yet they go and try to pass bills that increases taxes on you, which means you have less money. So to increase your taxes, you have less money, but things cost more. So you have less money due to taxes, but things cost more. What does that mean for your savings, your investments, all these different things? It means your own government is actively setting you behind because of the actions and things they take. And you should understand how that works and then understand how the game is played so that you know what the rules are and you can make decisions for you yourself, your family, your community, your business. So that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Awesome. So put in the comments, let us know what you think. Should business taxes be increased? So this bill is talking about, they're saying that the bill will reduce the deficit and thus inflation. So by reducing the deficit, it will also reduce inflation. But it actually doesn't contain any deficit reduction until 2027. So we're not talking about, any kind of real relief currently. We're in 2022, about to go into 2023. And it says there's not even any distinguishable impact on inflation through 2031. So the things that they're telling you about this, if you even know that this is going on, is, they like to paint a pretty picture, like, paint the turd,
Yeah.
make it look pretty, cover it in chocolate. But really it's a turd. And so it's important to understand what is happening, what things are being put in place, and also what it means for you and how you can protect yourself, your family, and your business if you're a business owner.
So recently there's been a lot of talk about inflation and what inflation actually means. So a common metric for determining, or barometer for determining inflation, has been 2 quarters in a row of a reduction in GDP. So what is GDP? A lot of times people use these words and phrases and things that the average person doesn't understand. So they can't think with it because they don't understand what it means. So GDP stands for gross domestic product. So in every country, they're producing things. They're producing goods, they're producing services. What is the total monetary value of all the production, all the goods and services? What is the amount? What's the total, the gross domestic product that was produced in that country? So for example, if a country A produces 10 bananas, and each one of those bananas are worth $10, and they also produce pineapples, and each banana is worth $1. I'll say that again. So let's say it's country A. Country A produces 10 bananas, and each one of those bananas are worth $1. And they also produce 10 pineapples, and each one of those pineapples are worth $1. That's $20. That means the GDP, the gross domestic product, everything that was produced in that country was $20, usually over a period of time. So sometimes it's measured quarterly and sometimes it's measured annually. What are they looking at? Why do they measure that? Because they want to know how productive that country is and what are they producing? Are they producing something that's valuable? Let's say the next year, pineapple is not worth $1 anymore. Pineapple is worth 50 cents. They could produce the same amount of pineapples, but now they only made $5 from the pineapples, right? So the GDP would be $15, $10 on the bananas, $5 on the pineapple. Okay, so this is a very, very basic, simplistic analogy. Now take all the people, your mom, your dad, your parents, your sibling, your coworkers, all these people working and producing, manufacturing, all of that. What is the production of the United States? And then when people look at, is it expanding? Are they producing more? Are the goods worth more and more? Are people willing to spend more for those goods and services that are being produced? When that starts going down, and it goes down for 2 quarters, a quarter is 3 months. When it goes down for 2 quarters in a row, that means for 6 months, the production of the country has been shrinking. That's what a lot of people would consider a recession. A recession doesn't mean it's everything's going to crap. That's not necessarily what it means. It means something's shrinking, receding. You ever heard somebody got a receding hairline? It means it's moving back. Okay, it means it's shrinking. So it means you need to start thinking with that. Okay.
Yeah, but isn't it different now?
But now they try to change the definition and go, well, it's not just that. There's all these bunch of other metrics and all that. Your government likes to change stuff on you. They change how they factor the consumer price index, because it will look really, really bad if you tell you what the actual rate of inflation is. So sometimes it doesn't include everything. They change the definition of stuff. Your government's very sneaky because they know you don't pay a lot of attention to these things. So they try to change what they describe things meaning of and say, well, this is not really the meaning of it.
So, oh, go ahead and finish. I was going to say, here's the example of that.
So the reason you need to understand GDP and a reduction in GDP is because part of it has to do with taxes. So now, here's one thing I'm going to show. Let me see if I can show this. You guys want me to see it on Instagram, but if you hop on Facebook, you'll be able to see it. It is, I'm sorry, if you hop on a YouTube, you'll be able to see it. So it is the percentage of our national debt compared to our GDP, which means if you take the yearly production of every company, the whole country, the yearly production of the entire country, how does that compare to the debt we have? Imagine if your household owed $50,000 worth of debt and you made $40,000 in that year. You will be far behind, because even if you took all of your production, no living expenses, nothing, you took all of your production and you put it towards your debt, you still could not get rid of the debt. The debt is so high. So now when the debt's high, the way that they get money is to tax you higher, to increase taxes on you. They don't like to do it too fast, too high, because you get pissed off when they increase taxes on you. So they try to find all kinds of mechanisms and try to do it slowly and all these different things. But that's essentially what they're doing. All right, so you can go ahead and the point you want to make.
Yeah. So in this article, it says Senate passed a $280 billion subsidy bill for computer chip manufacturers in the name of keeping the U.S. globally competitive. So they put money into manufacturing computer chips, right, to help the economy, help the country. And then now they want to take a chunk of that back for themselves with this bill. So like Martin was saying, the government is very sneaky in how they package things like it's to help you and help the country, but then they may take something back, or they may not deliver on something that they say they're going to deliver. So it's important to really pay attention to not just what's being said and promised, but actually what is being put into place and what it means for you and your finances. So let's talk about what you can do with this information. Mm-hmm. So what you need to consider and what you can put in place to protect yourself. So one thing that you can do is consider future tax increases in your financial plan. So you've got to look at, you may not be able to, decide whether you want your taxes to increase or not. They may increase whether you agree with it or not. So you've got to plan with that instead of going into fear or, giving up or, getting mad. What can you do? You've got to increase. You got to expand. You've got to do more. You've got to plan with these increases, just like you've been having to adjust for inflation, is you can start to plan ahead and put things into place. And there's actually some tax-free strategies that you can put into place for you, yourself, your household, and especially for business owners.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, look, the American taxpayer is going to have to end up paying more. And if the more financially successful you become more and more of somebody that they want to pay more taxes. They're like, oh, you got some money? Okay, you need to pay more taxes. You make more income than over here, you need to pay more taxes. That's how a lot of them are looking at this. So the more financially successful you start to be, or the more financially successful you are, the more they want to come after your production. Why? Because they need money, because the government does not know how to manage or handle money.
Or make money.
Yeah, so a couple of buckets here that they have. And a lot of you, those of you who have retirement accounts, traditional retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, 403B, 457, TSP, all of those are referred to as tax deferred accounts, which means your money in that account is just accumulating without, you don't have to pay taxes on it yet. You are going to pay taxes on it in the future. You're going to pay taxes. And the moment you try to pull money out of that account to use it, the government is going to tax you. Now, if the government is looking to increase taxes because they don't have enough revenue coming in, what does that mean for you? It means you're probably likely going to pay higher taxes in the future from your retirement accounts, your 401k, your IRA, all these different, your traditional IRA, all these different things. So there's 33 trillion in total U.S. retirement plan assets in 2020. If you between your state and federal taxes, if you pay 32%, that's over 10 trillion that they will collect. So that's the estimate of how much you will owe collectively, all the people who have retirement accounts, traditional retirement accounts. That is the estimate of how much you would pay based upon today's tax rates. Now, if it increases, that means they're going to take more of your money. So you have to start thinking with that in mind, where else can I allocate resources so that I don't have to pay all this money in taxes? So on the screen here, if you guys are on YouTube, you can see this on the screen is 3 buckets. Not all assets are taxed equally. Not all assets are taxed equally. For example, your traditional retirement account is taxed differently than if you have a real estate portfolio that's paying you income. If somebody has a multifamily real estate portfolio that's paying an income, it's taxed differently than your 401k or your IRA. They could have the same amount of money, but when they go to take a distribution out of it, it will be taxed differently. Why? Because it's regulated by different tax code. The person who has a real estate portfolio may pay capital gains, which is a smaller tax rate than ordinary income, which is a higher tax rate. There are other financial vehicles where you can take a distribution from, take money out of it without paying income taxes on it. You can access it without paying taxes on that. So I won't go into all of the details on all these different asset classes, but some of the things that are often overlooked that can allow you to get tax-free income would be a Roth IRA. So for those of you who want to have an IRA, you can have a Roth IRA. There's some rules and regulations. You got to have it for a certain number of years, and you got to be a certain age. But if you qualify for that, then you can access that. If you're an affluent individual, you make over a couple $100,000 a year, to prevent you from contributing to a Roth IRA, you get limited. So you got to find a backwards way, or you can just look at other assets that allow you to do that. Municipal bonds, interest on municipal bonds are also tax-free. However, the interest is not very high. You got to go find the right bonds and all kinds of different things. There's also life insurance. You can store money inside of life insurance policies. The death benefit on life insurance is tax-free. You can take loans in certain situations, taking withdrawals without paying taxes on that. So loans are not taxed. So the distributions on these assets are generally tax-free, whereas the distributions on your 401k is going to be taxed at ordinary income tax, which is the highest tax that you can pay. Somebody who owns a real estate portfolio, they will pay lower taxes because it's generally capital gains tax. Capital gains is lower than ordinary income. So the way a lot of people have been taught, which is to save money in a traditional retirement account, use your 401k, all these different things. I'm not against 401ks or anything. So I think financial instruments have their place if you understand where they fit into your overall plan. So if you have a match in your 401k, excellent, get the match. If you're putting in way more than a match because you think you're supposed to put it there, what you're going to do is you are funding money into a bucket that the government is going to stiff you on when they increase taxes on you in the future. That's all essentially you're doing. So
and it's subject to market risk. Market goes up and down, you don't really have a whole lot of control over it.
Yeah, so you have all these different things, right? So understand the impact of taxes, because even right now, even though inflation is high, they're still trying to raise taxes on you. And they're trying to raise taxes on businesses, which will affect taxes on the individuals who work for businesses, the employees who work for business owners, all of that. So if you're a business owner and you're looking at, I want to build a retirement plan, I'm not exactly sure how. I want to build a plan where I can have access to my capital. I want to be able to leverage my capital to buy other assets. Maybe at some point you want to expand and grow your business. So you don't want to lock up your money like in a traditional retirement account where you got to wait till you're 59 and a half before you access the money without penalties. There are things that you can do that we help our clients do every day to put themselves in a position where they have liquidity, use, and control of their money without subjecting to market risk, and have access to tax-free income. So you want to show them where
Yeah, so if you want to see an example of what your numbers might look like in a strategy like this, to be able to look at some options, to be able to have some tax-free strategies to protect yourself from the risks of taxes, inflation, market risk, all of these things. And if you're in a position to put at least $6,000 per year into a strategy like this, you can go to sixbuildingblocks.com/bank. sixbuildingblocks.com/bank, and we can put together some numbers and examples. These strategies are custom designed based on, how much you're putting away. Our average client puts away $50,000-$60,000 a year into a strategy like this. So it really just depends on where you are, what your goals are. If it's companies, they may do even more. So go ahead and request an example to see your numbers, sixbuildingblocks.com/bank. And if you're not quite there yet, you can also reach out to us, and we have other resources for you that can help you where you are now.
So Versatile Investing on Instagram says, my wife and I watch your lives faithfully. We've been married for 10 years and look at you both as mentors. Love the information you share. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
That's why we do it. So thank you for saying that.
Yes. The one of the biggest compliments that we can get, that people can give us, is that they see us together as a unit. That they see us together as a unit. Very important, because before I want to talk about this for a second. This is something that's been on my mind a lot. The importance of family and togetherness and being a unit, and going after things the family is trying to achieve, both for the family, for the community, and the people around them. Back in the day, you always hear about family businesses, a family farm. This has been in the family for years, all these different things. The families used to be on the same page. They worked together a lot. And then there became this sort of thing that it's unusual. It's not good for families to work together. All these different things. It doesn't mean families have to work together. But I'm saying it used to be more common. They don't have to go to the workplace together, but the family has to work together to reach their goals and objectives, whether they're financial goals, spiritual goals, fitness goals. The family as a unit should be encouraging to each other, because the smallest minority on this planet is the individual. Then from there, you have the couple. Then you have the family, right? So when you start looking at it, who should have the most influence? It should not be society. It should be, the influence should be within the couple, within that little group, right? And have the most influence upon the direction you're thinking, your mindset, all these different things. And the government is not your friend. The government has been instrumental in separating families a lot. This was done very strategically and very systematically. The government was instrumental in certain ethnic groups in separating them. The government would penalize, if there was a man in the household, would penalize the man for being in the household. If there was, maybe he was in a position where he couldn't provide so much at that time, or in that space, whatever it was, they were trying to force the man out, and the government would try to take the place of the man as the provider. So they forced the man out. So what were they doing? They were separating families. This is something that's been on my mind. If you look throughout society, any strong culture you've seen has been built upon families and groups. And you have individuals, and they form their groups, and then they form larger groups, and they form larger groups, and all these different things. But it's individuals contributing to the overall success of that group. A business is the same thing. It's individuals in the business contributing towards the success of the overall group. Same thing with this planet. You have a bunch of individuals running around. You have a bunch of different countries, everything. The idea is we should be in cooperation with each other so that we can increase all of our survival, so we can rise up to higher levels. So there's a separation. The separation mean being a black man coming to America, being born in Africa. They try to create separation between being that I'm from Africa and a black American person. They try to create separation. See, so whenever you see even politicians, you ever seen politicians interact with each other personally? They don't actually hate each other. But the this side and that side, they don't actually hate each other.
It's all a game.
They're like two sides of the same coin. They know the game. These people are it's theater. It's theater for you. It's theater. They get on and what they do to theater. You ever watch the news? I don't watch the news very often, but you ever watch some of these channels sometime to bring one guy with this view, to bring this person with this view, and they argue. They do it on a TV show, The View. Why don't they just get everybody with the same perspective? No, they bring this person with that perspective, this person with other perspective, so they can argue because it's drama. So they try to instill drama in your life. And I say all of that because these are the people who are in your government running things and making decisions that impacts your life, your business, your finances, everything. So
it would be great if it was actually productive conversation, because having different viewpoints is important.
Oh, yeah.
And discussing for the good of all, not just to create division and conflict.
Yeah, absolutely. You should welcome, or you should look at a change in your perspective. If you get better information, new information that's more helpful to you, then you can reject, oh, that old information doesn't work for me anymore. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to replace it with better information that helps me increase my survival level, helps me to do better. So you want to look at it like that. Anyway, I could talk about that for a long time. That's not the purpose of this episode today, but I do want to acknowledge you for that comment, because the togetherness as a unit of Chelsea and I is that's one of the best compliments that people can give us, that they say I recognize you two as a unit, and I see you guys moving and doing different things together. So we appreciate that. We're very thankful that you guys see that, and our aim is to be an example in as many areas as we can of life, so that to just represent possibility. I escaped a war in Africa to come here. I wanted to represent possibility, what's possible. What can be done. So thanks for that.
I escaped California.
Just skip California to come to Georgia. A lot of people are escaping California. It's a great place to visit. Mother Nature blessed California big time. Beaches, the landscape,
the
weather. I mean, it's a beautiful. I think it's one of the most, if not the most beautiful state in America.
It's a great place to grow up and a great place to get out of.
Yes. So once again, if you guys want to understand how to build a tax-free strategy where you can store capital, be able to have access, leverage it for other income-producing assets. If you're a business owner, how you can actually have your business fund a strategy like this and get an immediate tax deduction. All of that, you can go to 6buildingblocks.com/bank. That's where you can find it. Somebody says, so from Homerville, Georgia, by the way, by way of Southeast Georgia, about an hour and a half from Florida line. Welcome.
Now, one thing that the government in Georgia has done to help with the taxes, they lowered the taxes, temporarily froze the taxes, right, on the gas tax.
Yeah.
And so you can look at where are the areas that are actually doing things to help people, and where are the areas that are doing things that are actually hurting people. Just because they say they're trying to help or they're helping, you can look at the results and see that that's not always the case.
Yeah, and by the way, we say this, I don't like to get into politics too much. My father's a politician in Africa. He was like a revolutionary guy, wanted to bring multi-party democracy. He's considered the father of multi-party democracy in my home country. In America, I don't really get too much into politics because I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I understand that these two groups, they strategize, and a lot of these people work together. You take this position, I'm going to take this position, and we're going to debate and act like we hate each other, but secretly behind closed doors, they don't hate each other. They understand they have to do it for theatrics. They have to do it for punchlines and whatever. So understanding that, I just look for which area is doing well, who's making sound decisions, and then I use that to my advantage. So you can do the same thing using things to your advantage that are available to you. Go to 6buildingblocks.com/bank. You can find out how you can get a tax-free strategy that allows you to put capital away that you can then access